I'd now like to introduce RJ Houston. RJ is the Manager of Pool Safety at Life Saving Victoria. He has over 15 years' experience in the aquatic industry across local government and management groups and is passionate about operational excellence, health and safety, and risk management, having expertise in OHS management systems and quality. The pool safety area of LSV provides expert water safety advice to pool owners and operators and assists in several aspects of facility operations and management. These include facility design consultation, safe operation systems, supervision systems, critical incident reviews, and water quality risk management. RJ is a qualified and licensed auditor, holds OHS qualifications, and is currently studying a Master of Business Administration.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to talk to you about pool safety at Life Saving Victoria. I'm the manager for pool safety, and I thought I'd start with a little bit of a review of the year past and the size and breadth of swimming pools across the state, as well as a bit of an overview of what we've been up to and what we're planning to do into the future. To start with, you can see on the map here all the pools that are public pools across the state of Victoria. So we've got 288 council-owned pools and over 280 learn-to-swim pools across the state. There's also 100 or so school, body corporate, hotel, motel, and caravan park pools, which we would call public access pools, which are not shown on this map. In a typical year across the industry, we'd have over 70 million visits to public pools. And we know that the value of sport and recreation to the Victorian economy is about $8.5 billion. We also know from research that each swimming visit generates about $26 in economic benefit to the local community. We also know that swimming is Australia's largest participation sport. And this year, one of the things that we also know is that the arts and recreation sector have been the hardest hit by COVID-19. Amongst those public pools, the pool safety team at Life Saving Victoria currently accredit over 30 platinum pool facilities, 196 watch-around water facilities, and 76 SwimSafe facilities. Additionally, our swimming and water safety team licensed over 170 swim and survive pools. Despite the pandemic, it has been a very big year in service delivery and advocacy for Life Saving Victoria and the aquatic industry. To recap some of our activities, we've had over 50 AFAR PD sessions with over 10,000 participants and counting. We developed a water quality risk management plan template at the request of industry in around January of this year, which we now know is in use at over 100 public pools and counting. We've also been working behind the scenes on new construction concepts and business models with our partners at Commercial Aquatics Australia and Leisure Management Excellence to find new and innovative ways to address the challenges brought by aging infrastructure and a changing community. As always, we are busy working with councils and architects to find innovative ways to design facilities with safety as a primary consideration before the first shovel even hits the ground. What I'd like to talk to next is how we bring groups together and the various interfaces that these groups have through Life Saving Victoria. And I want to go back over the pipeline and talk about some of the things that we started many, many years ago that are only just moving through the industry now. So an example of that is through our relationship with DET. There's been a $9 million investment over the last year and a half or so via schools and swim schools through the Victorian Water Safety Certificate. This started in 2013 as an LSV research project and only received a green light for government funding in 2016. It's been putting kids through learn to swim lessons in swim schools and public aquatic facilities and is giving a generation of young people life-saving skills. It's a great outcome for the community and it's a great outcome for industry, but it started very, very small. For the last 4 years, Emergency Management Victoria, through the Safer Public Pools project, has subsidised pool safety assessments and the Victorian Public Pools Register. Play It Safe by the Water has provided support to keep watch-around water in public pools across the state and continues to subsidise that program. Through the Safer Pools project and in combination with increased advocacy on appropriate risk management, we've seen really successful outcomes. There has been no fatal drownings in public pools over the last 4 years, despite over 280 million visits over the same period. And that's a credit to every person that's worked on the Safer Pools project that works in aquatic facilities, and it's a credit to the government for continuing to invest in water safety. Through our social enterprise, the public training team have put about $200,000 back into aquatic facilities in venue hire for public training courses every single year. Our multicultural team puts about $40,000 a year worth of swim lessons through the aquatic industry to help those at risk of drowning learn vital water safety and survival skills, whilst reducing the likelihood of a drowning event in the at-risk cold communities. Many of these students then go on to become lifeguards through the CALD program and are now paramedics and working in other services in the emergency services sector. The key message of this is that through LSV, in partnership, together, from little things, really big things grow. And we're here to keep bringing people and organizations together for maximum long-term effect. So here at LSV, we do advocacy a little bit differently. We spend a lot of time gathering the data and the evidence, and then we put it to the test and make sure it stands up under rigor. We then go to key decision makers armed with the facts. It's not very loud, and it's not always quick, but it makes sure that the right decisions are made for the most people. Some examples of this will come up on your screen. We do an annual State of Sector report for industry and government in partnership with Aquatics and Recreation Victoria. This will be available on our webpage soon and sent out to aquatic facilities, and it covers off the 2019-20 financial year. In that report, key insights into the impacts of COVID-19 on the aquatic and recreation industry, as well as the importance of the industry economically, socially, and of course in preventative health. We're also just releasing version 2 of the Safer Public Pools Code of Practice. This was a joint industry and government initiative following a string of public pool drownings in 2014 and 2015. It's been highly effective in that there's been no fatal drownings over the last 4 years. But there's still more work to do. Some key updates for this year include updates to qualifications, following industry consultation, and changes to guidelines and regulations in the water quality and water safety space. We'll send out some further detail about this in our next newsletter. We also developed this year and released a return to play plan for swimming pools that has been adopted in hundreds of pools, not just across the state of Victoria, but also used interstate. One of our really key pieces of advocacy is our annual drowning report, and I know you heard from Rhiannon about that earlier. We also give advice to the coroners. That's not really the fun stuff, but it's also very important work. On a micro level and on a macro level, we provide detailed advice on aquatic operations and risk, and try and make sure that we contextualize advice to all sorts of individual aquatic environments and different operational situations. Meaningful advocacy is difficult, it takes persistence and time, and it's very different from lobbying. I'd just like to cover off some key insights from this year's State of Sector report. One of the things that's become clear through Ambulance Victoria data is that there was 24 non-fatal drownings in public pools, which is 8 more than the 5-year average, and makes up 25% of the non-fatal drowning incidents attended by paramedics in 2019-20. In a typical year, I mentioned before, we know there's 70 million visits, so we can estimate that there's been about 13 million visits that did not occur in the first lockdown in 2019-20 financial year. We also know from Royal Lifesaving Research and Swimming Australia research that the economic, social, and preventative health impacts of these lack of visits are astronomical, and these are detailed in this report within the Victorian context. Despite some of the bad news, pool safety assessment performance improved by 4% in compliance and about 1% in safety across all the pools that were assessed in 2019 and 20. It should be noted, however, that 42% of council-owned pools have not had an assessment within the last 3 years, which does not meet the target set by government through the Safer Public Pools Code of Practice. We as an industry have to do better than this. We also have a number of major redevelopments underway that are highlighted in this report, with Kew, St Albans and Northcote imminent, and then further down the line, there's Don Tatnall, Kensington, Geelong, and Carnegie. Moving on to one of our key highlights is, as the focus on safety in the community increases, so too is the list of aquatic facilities who want to become Platinum accredited with Lifesaving Victoria. Our Platinum Pool program involves a series of assessments and program hurdles, and if successfully completed, an accreditation is issued for a Platinum standard of safety being achieved at the pool. This year, we'll be opening up additional spaces in the program. To qualify, your pool must achieve a 100% compliance score on a pool safety assessment. Additionally, the Platinum Pool Steering Committee is engaged in more advocacy than ever, and as such, a decision was taken to incorporate some working groups and task forces under its structure. From 2020-21, the Platinum Pool Steering Committee will oversee the Local Government Group Operations Task Force, the Watch Around Water Advisory Committee, and a Pool Safety Technical Committee. I'm also pleased to announce that we've launched a couple of new services in 2020-21 that we never previously did. Why we're doing this is we're trying to make compliance, safety, and risk management as streamlined, as simple, and as consistent as possible across the state as part of our mission of ensuring that all Victorians have access to safe aquatic environments. Those services are emergency planning, supervision planning, and our pool safety assessment reporting. The emergency planning service comprises emergency risk assessments, emergency plans, training for your emergency planning committee, and training for your emergency wardens. The supervision planning service is similar. It incorporates supervision risk assessments, supervision plans, and training for staff that are involved in supervision planning. Lastly, as a result of investment in the back-of-house pool safety assessment platform, we will be able to provide benchmarking reports on pool safety assessments for organizations that manage multiple pools to give senior management insights into their safety and compliance performance across, for example, a local government area, a sector, or a region, or a state. And this will allow for them, senior management, to have greater analysis and be able to plan more effectively for the allocation of resources. As part of supporting new and existing services, LSV have developed the capability to build online learning modules. We've just completed our SwimSafe e-learning module, which I'm pleased to announce is now live in the SwimSafe members login area of our webpage. This complements our existing Watch Around Water online learning module, and it means that SwimSafe member facilities can now ensure a base level of competency for all staff delivering the SwimSafe campaign. The benefits of e-learning is that it can be completed from anywhere at any time. So onboarding new hires will never be easier, and there's no need for those 2-hour minimum staff meetings if you're implementing the program at your pool for the first time this summer. To support our emergency planning and supervision services, online learning modules are currently under construction. One of the things that we've learned this year, through the lens of bushfires and COVID-19, is that at times we have fragmented pathways of partnership. Depending on whether you are accredited through LSV or are a licensee, to an extent, this has determined the pathway of service and the method of advocacy that is available to your facility or your organization. Increasingly, LSV are a service provider and an advocate for both industry and government. A challenge that we face is we need to re-examine how we represent industry to government and vice versa. If we look into the crystal ball of the future, you've heard earlier from Simon what the challenges will be. You've heard from Kathy about the need for industry coordination. As an industry and at LSV, we see a need to formalize the LSV industry partnership model. We also see that we need to continue to elevate the standing of industry with government. Government and industry need to preference effective channels and try and reduce some of that noise. And there's an ongoing need to continue to work on improved industry collaboration. With this realignment of purpose and this desire to address the challenges, there are some amazing possibilities that can be achieved. There's the opportunity to improve our data collection and our analysis. This is this fourth industrial revolution, the era of big data. It's upon us, and our industry is not immune to this force of change. We need a way of consistently reporting and capturing the depth, breadth, and scope of industry. With improved data collection analysis, and reporting comes the benefit of better decisions, better micro decisions and better macro decisions. There is also an opportunity to reduce our costs and increase our value for money for your customers and for what we provide as services to industry and to the community. There's the benefit of increasing inter-industry partnerships through the availability and access of larger and more connected networks. With all of these key insights and thoughts about the future, there's plenty to reflect on. On behalf of the pool safety team at Lifesaving Victoria, I hope that you enjoy the rest of today's program, and as always, have a safe summer at your pools.